This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1237, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Nashville, it's artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What's happening?
Down the street there, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
And from LA, from Social Club Misfits, it's Marty.
Thanks for checking in on me. I'm doing good.
I was going to say, welcome back, Derek. Listeners, we don't like to span episodes. We like each episode to be self-contained, like an episode of Seinfeld. But last episode, if you heard it, the first 10 minutes, we were talking about my FOMO of being left out of an awesome trip that Derek went on and didn't tell me about. So, Derek, welcome back from your All-Star Weekend poker game.
Hey, first of all, that might have been the funniest 8 minutes I've ever indirectly been a part of, because all the human emotions like popped out, and I was like, oh man, I do be just leaving and not saying nothing. And then I was like, oh man, like when you texted me, bro, do you know how far my heart dropped? My heart dropped into my shoes. Man. I was like, man. Because I'm like, because all the things, it was like what you said on the podcast, all the things. I'm like, he loves poker, he loves All-Star Weekend. But I'm like, dang, this was not a situation I could have brought my bro into. So it's like it was the awkward text of, it was like, how do I respond? So when I don't know how to respond, I just send the crying emoji.
Yeah,
like,
I got
and
it.
That has like multiple different emotions attached to it. You could be crying laughing, you could be crying sad, but you leave it to the interpretation of the person that is receiving the emoji. So
Dude,
I was like, all right, we're gonna see what happens after I send this one.
I did see the pictures, but it was not for me, so I get it. I forgive BJ for leaving me out. It's fine.
It was Kenny the Jet Smith, so he was drawing a whole different group of people. Like, I'm in there and I'm like, I'm playing poker with this dude that is like this baseball agent he works with baseball players and gives them advances on their contracts. So I'm like, this is a lot of money right here, especially baseball and money and all that. And I'm playing poker with him, and I'm getting whooped because I have no clue what I'm doing. But you, on the other hand, we probably should have subbed out, because you probably would have took everybody's money. It was for a good charity, though. It was for kids that are struggling in school. So Kenny does this every year. It's all charity. None of it is like gambling for anything. It's really just a cool way to raise money for kids that are struggling in school. So shout out to them.
I was at a game just like that, a charity poker game with a bunch of NBA guys. I was Aaron Gordon was next to me. DJ Augustine was on the other side, and a couple other guys like Elfrid Payton and I took all their money. I absolutely. I have a picture with Aaron Gordon afterwards. He was like, "Dude, I gotta give you props, man. Let's take a pic real quick." And I swear, this man is like 3 feet taller than me. I look like I'm a little boy standing next to an NBA player taking a picture after I took all his money. So yeah,
I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you ever sit down at one of those poker tables, do not sit down at a poker table with Jason Collins, because he is a shark. Jason Collins was so like, he was telling the dealer what to do. Like, our dealer wasn't great. Like, I'm just be honest, the dealer that time, he was not really great. Like, he was like missing full houses and everything. He's like, no, it's a full house. This guy won. Jason Collins was but he was a shark, bro. He was like taking everybody's money. It was crazy. I never seen it in my life. Like, I didn't realize he like that. So
hold on. If you play a charity event, you put let's say you put like $1,000 down, right? You don't win any money. All that money in the pot goes to the charity?
Goes to charity, yeah. That's the
But you'll win like prizes and stuff or whatever at the end of the night. They'll do other things that are
like
legal.
vouchers kind of thing or whatever.
Right,
yeah, almost like a raffle situation. Like the winner of the
Okay.
whatever will take this home, but it's not a direct thing, so
They'll
it's
win a mini fridge. Got it.
That does make more sense, because I almost was like, why can't you just give the money directly to the charity? But I get you're getting a little fun
it's
prize
fun,
out
right?
of it.
It's why they have fundraising dinners and stuff.
No, I know. I just was I was with Marty where it's like, can you not just
keep the you don't donate what you want?
Here's the thing though. I'm blessed because I have friends that are like, look, we know Derek don't gamble, so we just gonna let Derek sit at the table and act a fool. So, because I'm just not gonna do it. Like, that's just not really my thing. Gambling's not my thing. But bro, it was all kind of people there. Shabuzi was there. My record label, Empire, they had a party on the other side. It was crazy, bro. Like, I've never been around that many tall people, and I'm usually the tallest person in the room.
It's truth, man.
So it's like, it was overwhelming. Like, I started to feel like how like my homeboy Cannon feels when he walks in the room, because he's like 5'3". And it's just like everywhere he walks in the room, like everybody saw. So if he'd have walked in that room, he'd have probably just picked up a slingshot and 5 stones and got to work. Them guys are tall. You don't realize how tall an NBA player is until you're standing next to one.
That's
I
what
hate looking up at people like doing that.
Because the funny thing, people are always talking about how I'd score on LeBron James. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
No,
You physically can't.
You physically would not score on.
No question.
Like, all the people making fun of Anthony Davis, it's like, listen, you still can't check him. So
That ball you're going to throw has to be very, very steep for LeBron to not swat it down.
The worst NBA player you will not score on the worst NBA player. I mean, this is the reality of it.
That guy's on TikTok. One of the worst technically NBA players is on TikTok, and he goes to street, like courts and stuff like that. And he plays people and
Is
shows
it the white
them.
guy? That tall white guy?
Yeah. He played. He was like, I was in a D League, and he's like, I'm just going to show you how good you have to be.
I think it was Scalabrini.
Yeah, that's a Scalabrini thing. That's why I knew.
Bro,
that
he's incredible.
Scalabrini thing. Yeah.
He was like humiliating everybody.
He's like overweight.
and I'm not good.
He's like 40 now, and he's just wrecking everybody.
He's doing like backwards slam dunks, and then like everyone's like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you. Look, and the thing is, I consider myself a great street ball player, but as I walked into that room with all of those NBA players, like, I was sitting there like, and then also thinking Vince Carter was there, Sean Marion was there, but then these guys, the kind of dunks that they were doing at that height, like, it's crazy to just watch these dudes. Oh, Muggsy Bogues was there. So watching all these dudes, it's crazy, bro. I got a lot of respect for short people in the NBA now. Just saying. Like, if you're under 6'4", or if you're under 6'2" and you're in the NBA and you're getting playing time, kudos to you, bro. Like, you
That's
really
crazy
like
that under 6'2" is considered short. I mean, like, obviously, like within the NBA, but like, if I saw a 6'2" man, I would never think he was short. I'd be like, wow, that's a really tall guy.
Man.
Yeah.
And then you see Baron Trump 6'9".
10. I think he's 10.
That's literally, you're like, you see a human like that, you're like, what is that?
He
But
should
I'm
be
gonna keep
playing
it real.
ball.
Baron Trump does not look like he's good at basketball. I'm gonna keep it real.
No.
That man's never sweat a day in his life. Are you kidding me?
Watch him be like the best poker player ever.
Here's the thing. I think he would be like my middle school basketball career, which only lasted one season. But I was 5'7" in 7th grade. Not a lot of girls can say that. So I got put on the team solely for defense. Like, the coach was like, do not pass the ball to Emily because she cannot shoot. But I would go up to girls and just put my hands up, and they couldn't shoot over me. That was my entire game plan.
Playing one-on-one against Baron Trump would be like playing one-on-one against those things at a used car dealership, the dance around, wave their arms. That's all he can do. He just stands there and waves his arm, and he's long. That's it.
Look, we need to chill out, because last time somebody talked about a Trump at an event, he messed around and became president twice. So I'm like, we're gonna shame Baron Trump into being an all-star NBA player. But if he hears this podcast, dude's gonna be like, yo,
He's getting in the gym today.
he's locking in.
He's
Next
like,
thing
I
you
got to
know,
prove the relevant podcast wrong. I'm
next
going
thing you know, he's
all-star.
gonna send us all jerseys.
Oh my gosh, that would be
Peasants.
yeah. Hey, losers, did it.
Derek, in a few years, when the All-Star game comes back to Orlando, I'll host my own celebrity poker game, and I'll invite you. But it's going to be not it'll be all
Derek?
guys like Jason Collins. It'll all be like serious players, because there's nothing worse than playing against. There's a couple guys taking it serious and a couple guys who have no clue what they're doing. The game's not in the right rhythm. It's got to be all people joking around or all people who are serious. You know what I'm saying? So like, we'll have serious tables, we'll have fun tables, we'll make it legit. It'll be fun. I'll enjoy it.
Are you only inviting Derek?
Yes. So I can take all his money.
Noted. No, I meant like on the relevant podcast, you're only like out of all of us, Derek's the only one getting this invite. Did you hear that, Marty? Are you tapped in?
No, I'm good. I don't even want to play that.
care.
I'm awful at it. I don't care. I really don't. Like,
You don't
I'm
have FOMO?
No, not at all. I mean, I don't care about that stuff. I like, if I'm going to Vegas, I'm doing like roulette or craps or something like that. I don't really go to poker. Is a little bit intimidating.
See, I never played those
are a little
games.
weird.
I never played those games, but Jesse and I, when we go to Summer League, Jesse's a real social player. So I like poker because it's it's strategy. It's not luck. You're literally playing people.
Yeah,
You're not playing against a casino. It's a totally different game. It's not luck. It's not gambling. It's,
strategy.
It is strategy and people skills. Anyway, Jesse is a social person. So he loves playing craps because it's a social game.
Me too. I love craps.
And you're playing with everybody. It's like everybody's on the same side and you're trying to beat the casino together.
Yes.
And that's his favorite. So I never knew how to play that. And so I just kind of he taught me and I hung out with him. And again, it's Summer League. So we're staying in the hotel where a lot of the teams are staying. So late night, it's just me and a bunch Jesse went to bed early and then all the players show up and I'm just playing craps with all his favorite players and stuff.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was great. Man. And I was texting him dude, get down here. Your favorite player, Grayson Allen, is standing right next to me playing craps.
He's knocked out.
And he slept through
it. Wait,
man.
Wait 1 minute. This man's favorite player is Grayson Allen.
That's a great question to ask at the end of the podcast.
Jesse loves Duke, and it was the year that Grayson Allen got drafted, and so we were at Summer League because he was so excited to see Grayson Allen because he's a Duke guy. I don't know, but Grayson Allen's a pretty fun player. He's going to punch you in the face and then hit a three on you. I mean, so it's I get it.
No, I don't get it, bro.
I'm saying, ask Jesse about it. He loves Grayson Allen.
This is like Christian rap. It's you a white dude, you see other white dudes do pretty good. You just yes, he's the best rapper over here. Bro.
Shane Gillis has a joke about that. He's I'm not racist, but when I see that wide receiver, kind of it's yeah, go. Shane Gillis has that joke of I'm not racist, but when I see that white guy doing good, it's hey.
Look, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it, but Grayson Allen is just you don't like Luka, bro.
Grayson Allen is that player in college. He literally started fights in the middle of games and stuff. That's what I think Jesse likes about him. It's he's funny.
Okay.
He the crowd hates him. Everybody's booing him. It's that kind of thing. That's what he likes.
Next time me and him on the pod together, I'm gonna have to talk about this. That boy averages 6 points and 1 rebound and 1 assist.
Anyway, all right, well, we have a great show in store for you today. Coming up, Amanda Cook joins us. I wonder what she thinks about gambling and competitive sports. We should ask her all about that.
She's a huge gambler. Huge.
For charity.
Just kidding. I don't know.
Donating for charity. That's what it was.
Singing worship for charity. I love that.
Just never play. I told you all this, but never play poker with Willie from Duck Dynasty. He's different. He's the most he's the Grayson Allen of poker. He will punch you in the face, take all your money, and laugh at you. I mean, he's
Sadie's dad.
Oh, I was hating on Grayson Allen. My fault, bro. This year, Grayson Allen is 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1.0 steals and 0.3 blocks. That's pretty good.
I guess that would mean a lot if I knew what those stats meant.
It means he's a good player, not a great player. He's not a bad player. Right there in the middle. Yeah. All right. Amanda Cook's coming up. At the end of the show, we have Ask the Cast. You guys sent in questions for us, and I'll lob them to the team. And stay tuned. Right now, up next, it's Relevant Buzz. Okay, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily.
Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to y'all about is something that Miss Ariana Grande said recently.
Can't wait.
She was on Mark Maron's podcast, and she was talking about the mental toll that being a star takes on you. And she actually was calling out Hollywood for not taking care of young stars' mental health. She was talking about how when she was 19, she just didn't she was getting started in the industry, and she felt really taken advantage of because she didn't know not only how the industry worked, but also just how to manage people talking about you online and people commenting on your relationship and your body and your skills and all these things. And so she is calling for record labels, studios, TV studios, all these big production companies to make therapy part of your contract when you sign someone to your label or to whatever. And I think that's a really interesting kind of movement to be pushing for. And I'm curious, we're talking to 2 artists. And I'd love to know, what are your thoughts on making therapy a non-negotiable in contracts moving forward?
It'll never happen. Absolutely. There's no reason why labels like labels do, for me, in my opinion, labels do, if they could do the bare minimum, they will. And so the idea that they would want their employees or their artists to have some type of great mental health, no, they would never do it. I mean, if you really wanted to do something that could bring a change, why don't you stop selling music that talks about killing people and drill music and stuff that literally drill is kill music? You know, like there's other things that they could have done that no one will do in a record label. I think it's really important though for like boutique labels to do stuff like that. They have to show you could get it done. But major labels, they don't care about people. They're just about business.
I run a boutique label, and we can't afford to pay for no therapy. So, so I'm telling you that that ain't happening. But listen, you come talk to Big Bro, and I'll tell you as much game as I can give you. But I can't afford no therapist. Like that's just what it is. Not for the whole roster. No, that's crazy.
Even on an assurance level, like in an insurance, like we don't get insurance from a label. Like
I think
we could start there. Where the labels start to get people insured or get better contracts for artists to get insured. No one even takes care of insurance. We have to pay for everything ourselves. Everything.
So I think what Ariana is missing, and I think this just comes from being successful for so long, right? Mm-hmm. That it's like she's been successful for so long. She's been as a baby when she got successful. Is that you are in a partnership deal between, it's a 1099 deal. It's not like you're not their employee, you're not anything, you're in a partnership. So that's like me saying, okay, because I'm Relevant has been a net positive for me. Like I get to talk to millions of people every week, and I'm saying, Cameron, it's stressful doing this. You need to have me a therapist. And it needs to be a non-negotiable in contracts, because the platform that you've invested in and you've allowed me to partner with is a very stressful situation.
You know what, though? That's an interesting correlation. But when you just said that, I literally, like, it hit me different in the sense of like, okay, you're an asset to what we're doing. And if you're telling me you're burning out and you won't be able to be part of this anymore, that's a net negative for me. So I want to keep you healthy. What do we got to do? Let's figure out something outside the lines to get you what you need. So maybe it isn't. I get what the point you're making, and I'm totally countering it, but I'm unraveling it. But it's like I think if companies would care about their artists and about their stars and about the people who are partnering with them and making us a lot of money, then it's not that much money. I mean, it's not exploited.
So there's two things here that I would say. Okay, one, you're not countering my point. All you're doing is just showing how countercultural you are, in the sense that you're an actual human being that cares about the other human beings, and you think long term about the relationships. That's why I've been here for over 5 years. Yeah. Right, I've been for 5 years because I know that I got someone that actually cares about people as human beings, right? That's number one. So we know that the music industry at large only cares about numbers. All right. Mm-hmm. Number two is that we have a Christian podcast that's built to spread positivity to the culture and to actually challenge negativity. When you look at record labels, like he said, like drill music, the same company that's putting out music that's telling black folks to kill each other in crazy ways, and that has got a star in like someone like Sexy Red who selling lip gloss that is gonorrhea colored, that person is going to hire therapists for people? No.
That's the same label as Ariana Grande. If you want to get technical, that's like Universal. It's the same label as Ariana Grande. So
no, they're not doing that because they profit off of the dysfunction of the people.
That's right.
They profit off the dysfunction. So how can you, the more dysfunctional you are, the more you act out. The more you act out, the more money we make. So why would they want you to be healthy?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It's the difference in countercultural and that's my biggest frustration. That's often with entertainment in general is because the most entertaining things is us watching people literally
self-destruct
themselves publicly.
You're right.
Right. And that's why I think that we need more relevant platforms. We need more Apollo records, more RMGs, because we have to combat that and show people that you can have dignity as well as entertain people. So I don't see that happening, Ariana. I'm sorry, but it's assigned to people that benefit from the dysfunction. Why would they want to correct it?
if you want to get technical, let's get even deeper in this, and I'll move on. But look at the guy who kind of brought her into the industry, Dan, the guy with the weird
Dan Schneider.
Yeah, like you have a guy who's over you, your boss, so to say, the guy who's in control of the entire world that you're in, and he is demented.
He's like slimy, right? It's come out that he was
it's all on record. It's all court, it's all court documents, but like he's a piece of garbage, and he's the guy who's writing scripts for you and doing stuff. What about these guys?
Wait. Allegedly a piece of garbage. I don't want to get sued for defamation. So in this era that we're in,
let me rephrase that.
Allegedly.
Let me phrase this.
Don't sue me, Mr. Schneider. Yeah. I've never met you before in my life.
Let me rephrase this.
Say nothing.
The guy who's essentially running the area that Ariana Grande and Disney Channel, Dan, was just doing some very weird things, and he got in trouble for it. It's it basically. And so you have there's a culture that already is they prey on kids. They prey on exploiting kids. Why would they try to help us? Like I think when I first got signed to a major label, I really thought I was really proud, and I felt like, hey, I had someone in my corner. And then as you start to really get invested and records don't do as good, and life starts to happen, and you see other artists, be pushed in front of you, you realize it is what Derek said. It's a numbers game. And for the most part, if you're not delivering numbers, why? Yeah. On to the next thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This person doesn't need therapy. He's ready. We need one album from him. It's ready to go,
Yeah.
And now with analytics the way they are, like, so I'm about to get real technical, guys. So y'all want to know why your music sucks right now? Let me help you out. It sucks because labels are like, yo, we're not going to develop artists. We're not going to help them work on their hooks. We're not going to help them work on anything. We're going to look at artists that are trending, and then we're going to give them a deal betting against their success in the future. So I'm thinking if someone has jumped from 0 to 100,000 monthly listeners in a month, that if I get them now, they'll go from 100,000 to 1 million with a little bit of help over the next 2 or 3 years. Well, that's why you get a Tommy Richmond situation, which Tommy blew up overnight. Things went great for him. Finally had his moment. Doesn't put the most popular song on his album, and now we don't even hear anything from Tommy Richmond again.
Yeah, he dropped a new single and no one cares. Like
the deal that he got, they bet against his success in the future, and they won. But what they really wanted was that a piece of that viral money that was going up. That's what they want. That's how labels operate. It's like playing stock. It's like trading stocks. Artists are stock portfolios to record labels. That's
so obviously Ariana is talking about her personal experience of like, I went through so much, I was unprepared for it, and I wish that somebody had made my mental health more important and had, helped me. I would be at a better place in my life right now, the kind of a thing. Like how, I understand her perspective. And then Derek, I'm realizing what you're saying. I mean, like, the Arianas, the career musicians, are incredibly rare now. Like they don't care about longevity anymore. Mm-hmm. So this is just, I guess, if Ariana is like bringing up the conversation and just saying to other artists, y'all prioritize your mental health, take that $50, go see an online therapist at the minimum, whatever. Like maybe she's talking to artists. Like, we need to make this non-negotiable. As you're entering your career, you need to protect yourself because nobody else is looking out for you. Maybe that's the direction the conversation should go versus it's the label's responsibilities, because that'll never happen. Like Marty said, that's interesting.
I think it's part of that. I think it's also like eventually I think where we're at right now, labels aren't going to add in a therapist. I think if this conversation gets started and more people start advocating for it, it'll take a long time, but the hope is that eventually it will become more of a conversation within labels. Because I think about like earlier this month at the Grammys, Chappell Roan made her entire Grammy speech about like how there's not insurance for a lot of artists. And it's like, I love music. I've never once heard about artists not getting insurance. I've never thought about that. And it's like nothing changed immediately, and nothing probably will change for a few years, but the conversation started. We're moving forward. Hopefully change comes eventually.
But so the question is, because we know nothing's free. So the question is, what are artists willing to give up to have health insurance?
Yeah.
And to have mental health
Therapy.
insurance or mental health therapy, because now what's happening is for most of these artists, again, it's a partnership between two people. We both have ownership in this situation.
Yeah.
If you're saying, hey, I want to be an employee for you, then that's different. So now what you're saying is you're my employer, give me insurance. So then if that's the case, then nothing you own is yours.
Yeah.
Everything anything that you own, anything that you do,
Company
if you're my
owns.
employee, yeah, it's ours. Right. So that's the trade-off there. Do you want to be an employee of a label and
Autonomy
never have,
or employment. That's
it.
yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the same thing with any other business. I think sometimes because we look at art, we forget that this is the business of selling art. So, and then another question is going to be, now, how many jobs actually provide mental health insurance or mental health like therapists for their employees? I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to have it. I'm just saying, how many do we know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's true.
Pre-COVID, when we had our office, we had a big staff. We, provide 100% of our health insurance for everybody. But our plan, which was through United, didn't offer counseling or mental health services. So we told the staff, if you want counseling, we'll cover it. So we would just subsidize it individually, one by one. I understand that that's a little awkward. Now the employee has to come to me and say, I want to take you up on your counseling offer. Yeah. But every month it was part of their check after that, if they did. So, Miles Adcox, I don't know if y'all heard about Onsite. It's in Nashville. It's the online on-site therapy, residential therapy center. He has a real heart for artists, and he opened a counseling office in the heart of Nashville specifically for the music industry.
Oh, wow.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And you talk about the transformation of Jelly Roll. We've talked about that a number of times. He is part of Jelly Roll's team. He's taken Jelly Roll under his wing.
Wow.
And so I think what Miles is doing behind the scenes in the music industry, especially the country industry there in Nashville, is really making a big impact, because he sees the need of what Ariana's talking about, but he also understands the labels aren't going to help. So he's trying to insert, here's an option for you guys, because it's a unique life that you live, and a normal therapist isn't going to quite get it, So here we go. We're tailoring it to artists. So I think that's brilliant. If you're an artist listening, check out what Miles Adcox is doing there in Nashville. Emily, we should have him on. I mean, that would be great. That dude's impacted my life. I mean, I've been to On-Site. I mean, Miles is awesome. I met him through Don Miller back in the day, but I mean, that dude's made a huge imprint on Jelly Roll, and all the philanthropy Jelly Roll is doing. Miles leads that for him. Wow. He's his giving director kind of a thing. So
just hear me when I say this. Would I love to see record labels invest in the artist at that level? Yes. I think that I would love to see it. But if we just think about it, Kendrick Lamar, his album where he talks about his therapy and healing and all that was one of the least received albums that he put out. When he disses another black man and calls him a pedophile, he puts out the greatest album he ever received. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's
most
just
successful. We can debate greatest, right?
What I'm saying is the most successful. Not necessarily, to me, that's not my favorite album. GNX is cool. But off the back of him having that beef with Drake, tearing this man down publicly, and them destroying one another, it catapults him to another level of stardom. And that's just an unfortunate way that we consume entertainment. So I think really the big issue with this conversation is, why do we as people love that? Yeah, that's why I would play. I think if we could fix that, then the next step goes into, well, how do we help the entertainers? How do we help the entertainers to where they can be able to manage all of this stuff? But man, people are toxic. That's just the reality. People are toxic, and the record labels are giving them what they want. That's right. It's unfortunate.
I realize I listen to music differently than most people. I don't know if it's something about my brain or whatever, but when I listen to music, I'm listening to beat, hook, vibe. I don't listen to lyrics. I just don't. I mean, it's years later. I was at a Kendrick show one time at Lala, and it was the first time I was hearing the uncensored version of his music because I was listening to the radio version, and I was like, "Oh, that's what he said." I didn't even. It's like quiet on my track, like it's muted that word. I didn't know he was saying that. Holy cow! I loved Kendrick, but I didn't know he was saying these things. Anyway, but like I know I listen to music differently, but like to your point, Derek, like is that true? Because like I see Kendrick's blow up not because we're all like loving that he's tearing down another artist, but like it's just a great song. It's a cool song. It's a party. Like I don't care that the lyrics are about Drake or if he changed the lyrics. If the song was identical with different lyrics, I would like it just as much.
No,
so do you really think it's a lyrical thing or it's just okay?
The joy on people's face when they scream A minor is you just don't. I'm talking about people love that song because of the messiness of it. It's a phenomenal song, but they love it because it's messy.
Got you.
They love it because it's messy.
But like I'm just thinking of like all the artists that are explicit and stuff like that. Like if they again, same song, just swap out a couple of lyrics, like and it's not as negative. Like you really think it would be less popular? 21
Savage has a quote. He says, "If I was a Christian rapper, I wouldn't be able to do what I do." He literally says that. Yeah. And it's because what happens is, especially with hip hop culture, what hip hop inspires people to do is to be bold in areas that they wouldn't normally be bold in. Right? Go talk to that girl. Yeah, that dude gets on your nerves. And like, yeah, your boss may get on your nerves. You'd be like, man, I wish I could just punch that dude in the face. You can't do it. But when you listen to a 21 Savage, you're like, man, if I was, you get to vicariously experience those emotions through that guy.
Did you ever see that?
To actually have them.
That 1998 movie Office Space? Like the white guys. So there's this clip. It's like these, suburban, they hate their jobs, cubicle type, office. You got to watch it. But like there's this one white dude who's just bottling up all his hatred for his job, and he's driving to work and he's just listening to the most violent gangster rap ever. Just rapping. On my mind just like rapping every lyric because it's his outlet for his rage. And then he goes to work and he's, plays the role, but it's to what you're saying. He gets to live through the violence of the music.
Thing with the womanizing, same thing with the toxic relationship. Like these toxic relationship songs are just like those old school like Arabesque, what those old love books or whatever that women used to read. It'd be like Fabio on the cover or whatever. Like it's just those like that kind of thing, man. Yeah. It's like, hey, I live a life that I feel like is boring. And I get to experience this life vicariously through these people that's not boring. And it's extended from, at first it's books, then it's music, then it's music videos. Now it's extended to social media. A lot of these people have a social media persona. That's why I have a burner account, because to actually connect with people that I actually care about. But on my social media, I'm this crazy devil worshiper, or I'm this other thing. Like I sent you that clip of DJ Paul talking about from Memphis 3-6 Mafia, how everybody thought they were devil worshippers. He's like, I was playing organ in church the whole time. Right? It's whole personas, whole different personas. So,
we talked about that.
And people want it.
Yeah. We talked about that a few weeks ago with like Doechie's, with her speech from the Grammys, where it was Doechii? Like, she's talking about being sober, but then her most popular song, she talks about loving drugs and alcohol. And it's like, where's the connection there, guys?
And, I mean, honestly, that conversation spilled into the group chat, and where Derek's like, I'm just sick that the fact that like for a black artist to be successful, nobody cared about Doechii until she put out that incredibly explicit stuff. And it's a lie. We know it's a lie. She's living a sober life, and she's, her music glorifies all this other stuff. And look, she's winning Grammys, and she's, blowing up. And like Derek's like, why do we have to do that? Why do we have to? Society does that specifically to black artists. I mean, I would say rock artists back in the day when there were rock bands, but the rock and roll lifestyle was glorified in their music and stuff like that. Who knows if they actually lived it or not? But it's interesting, man.
I see it in other places too. Like Sabrina Carpenter, she blew up this last year. And what she's most notably, like a lot of people point out, she has a lot of very clever wordplay innuendos in her songs and that are very sexual. But I've heard her talk about it in interviews because people have brought up before, her being so sexual in these songs. And she's like, I'm really just like a normal girl. Like I'm not really like that. But she like definitely plays into it in her music, and because that's what people want to hear.
Interesting.
And I mean, I didn't go to any of her concerts, but I mean, she was known for this big, huge arena tour.
Yeah.
Which
There was a lot of acts
you know her
happening.
fan base is a lot of young girls, just like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And she, at one point in the concert, would have this huge bedroom set on stage and would invite a male guest from the crowd to come up and have sex with her in the bed behind a screen. And it's just like they enacted it on the screen. And it's like these impressionable young girls are like, well, this is what we do. You know, this is glorified. This is amazing.
And then we're asking these companies to give mental health help to the artists.
Boom, full circle right there.
That's what you're asking.
There you go.
And also health insurance. You know what I mean? So when I get gonorrhea, I can get
The lip gloss.
the gonorrhea lip gloss. Come on, guys. We're asking a lot.
Crazy.
We're asking a lot. We got to change. Let's go.
All right. Well, once we fix humanity, then I think we'll solve all of these problems. It's fine.
No, the music industry. We got to fix the music industry, and that will fix humanity.
Oh, right. Okay. Got it.
Right,
To sum it up, let's fix music industry, then humanity's fixed. Cool. All right. Moving along to something else. As you guys know, the Super Bowl was last week, and there's a lot of stats that have come out this week about how much gambling went down. It was a lot
to show off really
Jesse,
different.
are you listening?
Yeah. I was gonna.
I know my
as we were
bros
talking
lost
in
a
the,
lot of money. I got some homies in the group chat that suffered.
They bet on the Chiefs and stuff or some weird parlays.
I got one that went the opposite way, and the rest of them they suffered.
Yes, as I'm sure people are listening to this, and even people on this podcast, you may have contributed to this year's gambling for the Super Bowl, which was the most ever. Americans gambled $1.4 billion for the Super Bowl this year.
Oh my gosh! There you go.
That's
Just
crazy work.
in one night. It's crazy.
That's crazy work.
That's the thing. It's like I feel like we've all kind of known like sports gambling has become more popular in the years. It's now legalized in 38 states. Like it's so easy to gamble online now. But just keep that number in mind: $1.4 billion on one game. What I actually really want to talk about is a report that came out this week that found that in addition to actual gambling increasing, the search for "Am I addicted to gambling?" has also increased online. So more and more people are recognizing like, hey, I actually might have a problem here. And that's kind of what I want to highlight is, yes, there's, playing poker with your friends for charity is one thing. But if you are like consistently gambling, there is psychologists who have studied, there is a link between gambling becomes essentially a gateway to other addictions. And so you might start out on these apps, but they have all this gamification. Last week we were talking about social media. Does things to get you addicted. Gambling apps absolutely have that as well. And they're trying to get you addicted. And that addiction can lead to even darker things.
You hear that, Bruno Mars?
And the commercials are nonstop. And it's like, we'll give you $10 for free to just whatever. Oh, it's a game. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and then when you get in the app, it's almost like the Temu app where it's like, there's spin the wheel and you can win $10 more. And it's just like they keep you going. And I understand that. I mean, they really draw you in like it's just an fun arcade thing where you can make some money. And then all of a sudden you just keep chasing that next win. And but it's interesting that psychologically, I saw somebody tweet this the other day when this study came out, and he's like, what's so dangerous is that young men, specifically men in their 20s right now, are the target for all of this. And they are so jumping in with sports betting that they don't realize that it's rewiring their brain to have a proclivity toward betting and toward addiction, and that it will, when that high is not enough, like all highs, eventually your high isn't as high, so you need more and more and more. When gambling doesn't give them the high they need, it'll turn into drugs, alcohol, and other forms of addiction. And he's like, we haven't seen the full ramifications of this yet because these young men are still in their 20s and stuff, but 20 years from now, society will probably be dealing with a generation of men who have lost everything. They're gripped by addiction. And it's like, guys, we need to be taking this more seriously.
And everything is sponsored by
Gambling companies.
They are going aggressive.
Drake is sponsored by them. All these podcasts are sponsored by a betting company. Barstool Sports. That's how they started making a lot of the money. It's it's true. It's funny because like I joke around about like Bruno Mars and stuff like that, and other people have lost money. But I mean, just think about it. How many people were really thinking that the Chiefs were going to win, lost money? Then you have to tell your wife that. Then you got to tell like your family that. And then that's for what I think probably helps out the, hey, am I addicted to gambling conversation? Because, when you start to feel like you have to hide something, that's when it gets even worse. That's when it's like full blown. You need to be careful about it. And I'm surprised we 1.3 billion, but I'm not surprised. It's sad.
I saw a kid, he by his avatar, he looked like he's 21, 22, maybe 23. And he posted a funny meme, and it was a screenshot of his gambling results from 2023 to today. And so it was like, his funny comment was, some people gamble for this or that, whatever. I gamble as an investment plan. And his joke was that since 2023, he's, bet $23,512. And since 2023, he's made $23,560. And so it said your net profit is $60. So he's like, it's my investment plan. Ha ha. I suck at gambling. But what struck me is this 23-year-old kid has bet $23,000 in the last 2 years.
That's a lot of money.
That's insane.
And do you have a job for that, son? Like,
that's
what are
what
you
I'm
doing?
saying.
Right.
But here's my thing as the as far as someone who cares a lot about financial literacy, man, what would that 23,000 do in a Roth IRA, a money market, and maybe
or just in his life,
a CD,
anything? Yeah.
Anything. It could change his future. He could have retired at 50.
A lot of things with $23,000.
Really shows you. I mean, really shows you how much money you're wasting. How much, like he probably works really hard just break even. Literally, breaking even was
how many
the hardest
hours
thing.
did
he lost because he lost on fees.
Oh,
I guarantee you
they're not incorporating that, you think, right?
He's not incorporating the fees.
How much is a fee for a gambler? Like, let's say you're doing like a bet. It's like $10. Like, what is it?
It's different every time, and it's usually hidden in there. So it'll be like, depending on what the odds are, say like I bet $10, and it'll tell you you'll bet $10 to win 1921. And so there's, clearly there's 79 cents of fees in there.
Yeah.
But you're not looking at that. You're looking at, I could win 1921.
Oh, wow.
So who knows?
And that's
how they get you.
Make money. Like it's the during the gold rush, sell the shovels. That's what they're doing. They build these platforms for you to get on, and they make money off the fees. They don't care. So if you're addicted to gambling, if you're addicted to day trading, if you're addicted to crypto trading or gambling on there, they're gonna just kill you with the fees. So that guy's probably at a negative based off of that graphic more than likely.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, if he won exactly what he put in, you're right. He would have had more. Yeah, but the missed opportunity. I mean, people don't talk about opportunity costs. We talk about it in business. It's not just what does this thing cost the company, but what does the time cost the company that if we would have reallocated that time to doing something else, that could have had more impact. Opportunity cost is a real thing. With your money, with your time, we have finite resources in this life. We got to be thinking about how to maximize what the Lord entrusts us with, being good stewards. I mean, I think there's a parable somewhere about burying stuff. I don't know. Something.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyway. All right.
What else? Moving on. Well, speaking of the Bible, actually, that doesn't take us to the last thing that I wanted to talk about, which is The Chosen, which is coming out again this spring. But the big news is actually that Amazon Studios has acquired the rights for The Chosen through a deal with Dallas Jenkins 5 and 2 Studios.
Come on, that's dope.
So this is huge because The Chosen, as we know, was free everywhere. I mean, every streaming service has some seasons of The Chosen, and that's part of why it's been so big. But they just struck a deal, an exclusive deal with Amazon MGM. And so season 5 and all the rest of it will be exclusive on Amazon only. And they also will be the theater distributors when season 5 and the others come out. And all the spinoffs, all the other shows Dallas is working on are all going to be Amazon exclusive. So this is a big deal. We don't know the dollar amount, but there's a lot of zeros involved. I guarantee you.
Has to be.
Oh yeah.
Where are we at?
Involved.
Yeah. Where are we at with Jesus's life and season? Where are we at? Season 5?
So the 5th season's coming out in Easter, and it's leading up to the crucifixion. So
Amazon want that crucifixion. Man,
that's where my mind was going. Like, let's get the rights before Easter comes, and then we can start telling that story, and we'll get Mel Gibson. I get you. I hear you.
I mean, we've been in conversations with their team over the last couple of months to work out the marketing plan for the season launch. I mean, they'll be marketing it on Relevant, obviously, and there was no whispers of this news.
Wow.
I think the Amazon deal kind of surprised a lot of people, including the the marketing agencies and the people who have been involved. So this is a big deal. So
Congrats
to
guys.
Dallas. Yeah.
Congrats.
Honestly,
Huge.
what I am most excited about is, like you mentioned, the future projects that Dallas' studio will be coming up with. And there's one specifically, which is The Chosen in the Wild with Bear Grylls. I can't wait to see that. It's basically like Bear Grylls takes the Chosen cast into the wild, and I'm interested to see how that goes.
Yeah.
They got some other ones that they gotta have some other ones.
They got other ones. They got a lot of stuff coming out. Don't worry.
Yeah. They got it. I will say though, it is interesting. Amazon's like really stepping into faith content, because next week they're dropping the House of David series, which is all about King David's life, and they've got a few other projects in the works right now. So they're really pushing the faith content, which
Netflix is too. Netflix struck a deal with Devon Franklin and Tyler Perry, and we just put on the site a couple days ago that they've announced that their first huge project on Netflix is a love movie, a black romance movie telling the story of Ruth and Boaz in the modern day.
Called
R&B and Ashanti are playing
R&B.
I'm nervous about
R&B,
that.
Ruth
I'm
and
nervous
Boaz.
about that.
look
one,
crazy,
bro.
innit?
Ja Rule plays.
Bro,
Yeah.
I'm nervous, bro.
Yeah, there's gonna be fake bread somewhere. Because Ja Rule did that song "I'm in Love with the Christian Girl." Like he's like a part of that Christian, like bad acting world. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Boaz is gonna have those weird braids that like come down from like the Tyler Perry movies. I feel like the one that Kurt Franklin was wearing the other day. I have a feeling. I just have a feeling.
I'm not gonna lie. I honestly would rather Kev on stage do the Ruth and Boaz thing.
I would be 100% to have him do his own. I would love to see his version. You're right.
But Tyler, one thing about Tyler Perry though, he knows how to draw you into a story.
Dude, I love Tyler. I bought the 10 movie series last night. Yeah, it's like on sale right now for $7.99. All 10 of them, including Boo, the Halloween one, and Boo 2, are $7.99 right now on Apple, and I bought it, and we were watching Family Reunion. I love that one.
Oh no, you paid a whole $8 for
10 for 10.
Oh, for 10. Okay, less than $1 per movie. Got it. Okay,
That's amazing.
I was like,
I always
dude,
find
you
those
paid
deals,
$8?
and I'm like, I'm buying it. I bought all of Twilight for $5. I bought.
No, that's an
don't even get me
investment. Good
started.
for you.
Yeah, my wife was like, "You now buy it now."
Stop, Emily.
all right, that'll do it for
Relevant Buzz.
Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every day, where we are covering the intersection of faith, culture, and everything in between. And also, might I add, some amazing content. We have been stepping things up. We've been working really, really hard. And if you haven't been seeing our op-eds, our think pieces, some other stuff that we've been doing, it's magazine caliber content every day at the website. It's pretty awesome.
Pay attention.
Dude, I'm saying, hey, you know what though? This is for real. Like we've been talking, looking at numbers. We've been treading water since COVID and all this kind of stuff. And Derek, you appreciate this. It's like when numbers aren't going the direction you want, you're not growing anymore, even in areas declining. There's the quick fixes, the gimmicky short-term thinking. Oh, we'll just market this, or we'll just redesign that, or just whatever. But we have been methodically over the last months, like going back to our core, like talking about prayerfully mission, what is needed in 2025 from Relevant that nobody else is providing. What are the opportunities that we're missing? Let's rebuild our entire foundation, recraft what we're doing every day, and then we can market it. So what we've been doing is like literally doing the hard work of every day, just exceptionally different approach to our content output. Yeah. And then, but if you're not paying attention, you maybe don't know, because we haven't like blown up anything yet. We haven't redesigned anything yet. That stuff's coming. Yeah. Like apps, new website, new social media, video, like a whole bunch of stuff is coming. Right. But I didn't want to put lipstick on a pig. I didn't want to like get that stuff happening without the foundation.
You did it right. Yeah,
strong.
you did everything right. Yeah.
It's not fun and sexy because we aren't seeing the results yet, but I am so proud of what we're doing every day. Emily, kudos to you, the team. Fair. It's like, it has been a lot of work and a lot of rethinking how we do what we do, why we do what we do. And it's like building new muscles, tearing down what's, old wineskin, new wine situation.
Come on.
You know, it's like, I'm telling you, it's been hard work, but I am so excited about the future. Check it out, realmagazine.com every day. Click on anything. It's good. I'm telling you right now,
Please.
anything you click on is good.
To the point where people are taking your content and reposting it.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Stay tuned. This break.
Wow. Flex
Amanda Cook.
bombs.
This episode is brought to you by Josh Nadeau's new book, Room for Good Things to Run Wild: How Ordinary People Become Everyday Saints. Have you felt stuck in your faith? And no matter how many new things you try, you still end up with a dissatisfying Christian life? We invite you to rediscover beauty and wonder in the holy ordinary with the new book, Room for Good Things to Run Wild. Josh Nadeau is the artist behind Sword and Pencil, and through rich storytelling, liturgies, and artwork, you'll discover a way to move beyond trite platitudes to an embodied theology that transforms your whole life. Join Josh on a pilgrimage to rediscover the rich and wild world that God's created for you and the way He's created you to experience it. Start the journey today. Room for Good Things to Run Wild is now available in print, ebook, and audiobook formats wherever books are sold. This episode of the Relevant Podcast is brought to you by the Every Woman's Prayer Journal from Tyndale House Publishers. Living a life of extraordinary purpose starts with extraordinary prayer. The Every Woman's Prayer Journal is designed to add depth and intentionality to your prayer and Bible study, guiding you through scripture-inspired journaling sessions of praise, confession, thanksgiving, and requests. With 100 prayer sessions rooted in God's Word, it's the perfect companion to the Every Woman's Bible. Order your copy of the Every Woman's Prayer Journal today. It releases March 18th, and right now you can save 25% by ordering your copy at Tyndale.com. Well, our guest today is Amanda Cook. She's a worship leader who started with Bethel and has since moved on to a solo career. Last year, she released her album Survey Part 1, and this month she's followed it up with Survey Part 2. She sat down with Emily to explain the spiritual journey she's been on over the last few years, from rethinking worship to her career to therapy and everything in between. And she shares how Survey is her invitation for others to start rethinking their lives too. Here's our conversation with Amanda Cook.
Well, you just released Survey Part 2, but I would love to know, where did the idea for the Survey project start? Like, what was the genesis behind this idea?
The genesis of it, part of it is that I feel like as a creative, I mean, everybody's creative in their own unique ways, but for me, the wrestle of working on a project, it's really, really good for me to be working on a project consistently, in a daily sort of way, daily practice. Me left alone with my own thoughts for too long is not a good idea. And so music has been my outlet to manage my mental health, and it's been medicine for that too, for many, many years, you know, since I started. But I would find that every time I released a project, I was already thinking about the next two ahead. And I felt like I was, I love what I make. I love being able to make it, and I would love what I had made and released, but I would already be on to the next thing. And so the 3-part series for me of Brave New World, House on Hill, and State of the Union, they all go together like a little pack, like a little wolf pack, a little trio. And I like the idea of world building in my head, like creating. I think I heard a quote the other day about how, I'm not going to quote it, I'm just going to paraphrase it, but what an artist, the gift of artistry is to build a little world to put people into, you know? And so with those 3 together, it felt like we kind of, Brave New World was kind of like the forecast of like, it's an expedition. We're doing it. It felt like very external, like out here. House on a Hill was, oh, I am the mountain. Like the mountain is me, to go inward with all that discovery and all of that curiosity, to do, you know, my own work and therapy and to get into the inner world and the inner workings of the center of my own heart, which, like, House on a Hill is just, it's a metaphor, right? Of like, it's we are the house on a hill kind of thing. And then State of the Union was kind of an assessment of things. I was able to kind of look from those two perspectives into the relationship between the two things, kind of. I mean, this is just today's thought process. It's ask me tomorrow, it'll be a different answer. And this all leads to Survey because I feel better when I'm in a body of work, and the work is making me as much as I'm making it, and it's teaching me. That's, I mean, all artistry kind of gets the last laugh, right? Like, it's in a playful way, it tells us more about ourselves than we think we know. When we're writing a song, when we're doing whatever we're doing, it's this process of discovery, research, and excavation. And so with Survey, I think it ended up being this common thread and theme that has been running my entire life, which is an artist's greatest gift or offering to the greater good is having a point of view and a perspective, and knowing that that point of view is limited. Like, I have a limit. It's in my perspective and the way that I see the world, right? And my responsibility as an artist in the alchemy of artistry is to process what I'm taking in, what I'm learning, what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, and to through an instrument. An instrument is always where I go, right? I go to the piano because it makes make sense when I'm cluttered in my brain. But Survey has been this long-lasting theme of how I feel curious about the world, curious about my faith, curious about people, curious about the inner workings of my heart. It's a pathway and it's an approach to something. And I loved it because when that we started with part one, the song Survey is like, you know, the centerpiece of, and it's all borrowing ancient language, right, from When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. And to me, that gave me the language for how what my limited perspective is, that I want to be a student. I'm here to learn. And I want to approach everything that way. I want to approach my faith that way. I want to approach other people's faith that way. I want to approach people who think differently or opposite from me that way. That's the practice of kind of this way in the world. And so this is a very long answer, but basically I love that I'm in a body of work that's going to span years, you know, so that I can kind of settle in. You know, I think now that when I turned 40, there was some sort of switch, I guess, that happened, and it was amazing. I don't think it's magic or anything, but I'd heard the rumors of getting older, especially for women, that like perhaps we get better with age, and I'm willing. I think it might be true, because we settle into like, oh, what I'm really here to do, like the purpose of it and the limits of it, the landscape of it, and then it starts to get really fun. So we're going to survey a lot of things, you know, over the next number of years. But I love to study the way of Jesus and the many ways of Jesus. And so approaching even, and especially in the kind of world that we live in, and how easily brandable everything becomes. I realized with this project too, that the limits needed to stay. I needed to stay within my limits, which were, I needed to not represent somebody else's version of God or someone else's version of Jesus. The limits of my artistry is that I am paying attention, and I have a responsibility as an artist to jot things down as they affect me and impact me, and then give that back as like a question mark. As much like, I think sometimes we get so stuck in the thinking we need to give everything as an exclamation mark, but it's actually like this is it. If it's true art, it feels like admission. It feels like admitting something out loud rather than telling the people something. To me, it feels like I love this. It's kind of like when you take a friend to a movie you love, and you just hope you're not putting too much pressure on them to because they need to have their own experience with it, whether they love it or hate it, you know. But I loved being in the seat for this this part 2, I know I'm talking about Survey as a whole picture, but part 2, which was a live gathering and expression of people singing together in a church. It needed to be in a church, but it needed to not be of someone else's idea. It had to stay within the limits of, I'm going to survey this with you.
When people listen to this project, what are you hoping they take away from it?
Whatever they need, however it can serve. Art, if it's true art, all it does is reflect back to ourselves, like a good therapist, what we think about it. So I think I actually hope it would serve people in a gentle way, whether they're in the crash landing of I don't believe any of this anymore. I don't think, I'm exhausted. Great. Like, I'm not here to convince anybody of anything anymore. And I think that feels liberating to me, because in my ego for so long, when I made art and would release it, it was released still with the primal question of like, do you love this? I mean, me, I mean, it, now I'm like, no, the art is just the art, and all good art, all good storytelling allows us to come to our own conclusions. And I feel like a hands-off thing about it now. What I would hope is that it serves as a soundtrack for the main event, which is the listener. It's the person's own, and if it's not this, then find the art that serves your life in that sort of way. Like, you know what I mean? Which I love. So yeah.
It sounds like you've got a lot of ideas and things to survey. Out of curiosity, how many parts are you planning on releasing with this project?
I think it's unfolding, and we're going to survey the landscape of a lot of different things. So that includes my faith background and as it unfolds for me. And then it also includes surveying the landscape of creativity and different parts of that, and philosophy, and different. It's going to be fun. We're going to develop some things around it, which is fun because it's a concept. And what's great about a concept is it requires shared imagination to develop, not just a singular perspective. Yeah.
That was Amanda Cook. Make sure to check out her new album, Survey Part 2. It's available now. All right, up next, we play Ask the Cast. All right, it's time for
Ask the Cast. Anything you want, and we'll use our brains to answer.
Ask the Cast. We threw this out on social media. If there's anything, kind of, it's an AMA. It's just ask us anything. And here we go. I'll just throw some of these out there. Bethany Franks, not to be confused with Bethany Frankel.
I was just thinking that.
Bethany Franks.
One could wish.
She's a big fan. She's listening. What's one trend in pop culture that you just don't understand?
There's a bunch.
Yeah, I'm like, I literally open my phone and I'm like, where am I? So, the one I don't understand, although I do enjoy it, is the trend of making just intentionally awful food. Like, have you seen that? Like the trend, how people, so people will literally, like I saw Snoop post this clip of this girl that's like, hey, making this meal for my husband who worked 10 hours today.
Oh, yeah. I've seen those.
She took a burger. She had a skillet. She took a burger and threw the burger in the skillet. She took the fries and put them in the skillet. She cracked the egg on.
Disgusting.
It's just like, why? I'm like, I know it's for the views, but like, why this though? Like,
yeah, I'll see people who are like, they call it a hack. And then I'm like, I would actually never make this in my life because I would just
like the life hack, like that thing is good, but it's confusing. And somebody, especially those ones that look more polished, like that one looked like ghetto, but the ones that look more polished, somebody's gonna try that at home and they're gonna get sick.
Right. I think my trend, which I actually talked to some girls about this in a bathroom randomly recently. I don't get jorts.
Oh,
Okay. And I'm not talking like regular jean shorts. I'm talking about like Billie Eilish will wear like the knee length baggy jean shorts. I don't think they look cool.
The
That's just me.
1990s like carpenter jean hook on the side thing.
I don't get why they're making a comeback because I'm like, those don't look good. Like I just, that's for me personally. I'll out myself.
What's your Sammy Marks 1 says, what's your favorite memory from recording the podcast so far? Can't wait to hear. Sammy says.
I think one time Derek told me I was invited to the cookout after I said something really funny. And I thought about it for about 3 days.
Listen, Derek hands out cookout invitations way too easily.
Whoa. No, do not cheapen my invite, okay?
She can come to the cookout, bro. She can come to the cookout, bro. For real.
Yeah. Cameron, your invite just got rescinded.
Mine is going to an NBA All-Star poker tournament. And not telling the homie and then getting a random text and then listening to the podcast and realizing that I got 8 minutes. And it actually was unfolded in real time on the podcast. It was
unfolded in real time. My FOMO.
I think that's probably my favorite moment.
All right. This is right up Marty's lane. Jake Miller, 23 says, what's the most underrated show or movie out right now? I need recommendations.
The most underrated show, I will always say this because it's still great. I've been watching it again. Fargo. I don't know why people are sleeping on that show. It's such a good, I mean, they're not, but they are. Really great show.
Hey, along those lines, I'm watching Landman right now with John Hamm. Did a great Fargo. Fantastic.
Man, he's great. He's an incredible actor.
Yeah, John Hamm killed it in that last season of Fargo. That was unbelievable.
Very believable. Very believable. You know, I tried to watch No Good Deed last night, and it just didn't hit for me. With Ray Romano, who I love, and Lisa Kudrow, who from Friends, amazing. Couldn't get it. But I feel like right now I've been going back to like old stuff. Like I'm actually going to go back to Yellowstone soon, but I just don't understand why I can't watch the new season. Like you have to buy it to watch it. It's not available for streaming right now.
It's on Paramount Plus.
Are you serious? Because I do have Paramount Plus.
Yeah, it should be on Paramount Plus.
The only older seasons are available on the other ones, like Peacock. Paramount Plus has the new one.
I've been trying to find it, man.
1823, 1911.
I want to see that too.
Landman. They're all on Paramount Plus. Well, I mean, honestly, if we want to go down that road, Your Honor is amazing. With Bryan Cranston. There's a bunch of. I mean, this is just peak TV era. Yeah. Anyway, Kyle Franklin asked. He asked this to Jesse. He tagged Jesse in it, but Derek, this is my pure lane. What's the most ridiculous conspiracy theory you secretly wish were true?
I kind of wish the moon landing was actually faked.
Yes. That is a correct answer.
I kind of want to see the set, like Jeremy Kubrick. I want to know. I want like a movie or a documentary, not a movie, but it's like this was actually fake. This is what actually happened.
This is what we talked about. This there's a lot of space and quantum physics talk on last episode with Jesse. Yeah. But one of the things he talked about was the moon landing. We talk about space quite a bit. There's a movie on Apple TV Plus. It's starring Channing Tatum and
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson, and it unpacks this.
The girl. All right, I'm watching.
You've got to watch it. It's a great movie. It's fiction, obviously, but it's so much reality woven into it that it makes a very plausible case for what you want. Just watch it. You'll enjoy it.
And another conspiracy is that Antarctica has like all the strange things that's happening.
That's another one.
Well, I don't want it to be true. Because it's like they're like hell on earth is going to break loose if like that, but there's another dimension and that the earth is flat and you can fall off the side of it and the side of it is Antarctica. I kind of want to see what the edge of the earth looks like.
You guys know that one actor? Not actor. He's a writer. His name is Dean. I'm going to say his name wrong. It's like Coots or something like that. Dean Coots is a famous.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Very, very famous writer. There is a conspiracy theory that it's really a dog because every time
that he's a dog.
Yeah, that Dean Coots is the actual dog because every time he poses for a photo, the writer, he has his dog right next to him. So people are like, it's actually the dog is the actual like Dean, and we don't know his name. He's just and there's a whole
the handler.
There's a whole conspiracy about that, but I wish it was true. It's not.
Brittany H23 says, what's one thing about yourself that listeners would be surprised to learn?
I'm a big crier, for sure. I will cry a lot. Like yesterday, I was watching a video on TikTok of some family doing something that was emotional, and I'm holding my son, and I'm like, I just triggered. I don't know what it is.
Probably a lot of childhood trauma that hasn't been healed.
Has to be. Soldiers
If we had
coming
to
home.
guess.
Sounds about
My
right.
dad coming home. Just kidding.
I'm with you, Marty. I tear up anything.
I tear up, man.
I tear up for
watch it.
commercials, man. I
Yeah.
told you, my kid, he'll know. He'll just know. He'll look right at me during the Super Bowl commercial, just seeing if I'm crying. I'm like, shut up! I have a heart.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
What's the last? Tori Walker asked, "What's the last concert or live performance you went to, and how was it?"
Last concert?
I saw Jungle at the Hollywood Bowl in November, and they were absolutely incredible. Will West popped out, started dancing, and everyone was cheering. And it was if you have never been to the Hollywood Bowl in California, Los Angeles, and seen a concert, you're missing out. It is the best venue. You bring your own snacks.
Better than Red Rocks?
Way better than I think it's better. I've been to Red Rocks, and Red Rocks is cool, but I feel like Red Rocks is not like the type of people that go to the Hollywood Bowl and the type of like people that are around you. I don't know. It's a certain type of energy there. Red Rocks is cool, but I feel like a lot of people don't like people travel to go to Red Rocks. Like we're getting like locals in Los Angeles and some of the coolest people in the world.
It's just
and
like in a neighborhood, isn't it? It's just like
like you'll be looking on the right, and then there's like the cast of 30 Rock is like jamming out with, so it's like it's almost like the idea of like being in California, Los Angeles. It's cold at night, just like Red Rocks, but it's cold and the sound is good. And I went to that show, and I looked at my wife, and I'm like, every show that has my favorite person at the Hollywood Bowl, I have to see it. And so Hollywood Bowl is pretty incredible.
That's dope.
I went to the Opry for the first time in December. That was my last concert, and it was.
Who did you see?
I saw for King and Country. They had their Christmas show. I had talked with them earlier in the year, and they invited us out. But honestly, it was really special because I brought my mom with me. She flew out to Nashville. She's a really big for King and Country fan, and that was the first time I ever got to kind of really like do something for, like, I've done things for my mom before, but it was like one of the first times I've gotten to give her kind of like a big gift experience. And I was,
your job, right? That's kind of cool. Like your job, they gave it to you because you guys got the interview. So that's kind of cool. That like another layer of it.
Yeah. So it was just nice to like, it was also really nice because I didn't know for sure, but we did meet them afterwards, and my mom was not prepared for it because I didn't know. So she was like,
fangirled a little bit.
She was like, "Oh, how's my hair? Like, like, is my outfit okay?" I was like,
"That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's the wholesome content we need right there.
Right there. Thanks, Karen.
Erica Jones asks, "What's your go-to karaoke song, and how confident are you in your performance?"
Tequila, Party in the USA, easy. Miley Cyrus.
I don't do karaoke.
I love karaoke. Either. I'm a big karaoke.
The two times I've done it, Derek, I've done Young MC's Bust a Move because it gets the party going. Everybody loves it.
That's awesome.
You have to do a crowd pleaser.
I did Hillsong once.
Shut up.
I'm dead serious. No. I'm dead serious. One time, true story. I was in Brooklyn, and I was with the label. Had paid for us to go out do some PR work, and me and my buddy Taylor Leatherwood. Shout out to Taylor. He runs Joel Houston's label right now. But we went to this place, this bar, Asian bar, and I was like, let me do Laney, whatever. I'll try Laney, and it was so bad. It was like the worst. You know, when you realize that you can't sing like somebody, and I'm like, their voice is so high, so I shut it off. But they did have Hillsong. They had Lauren Daigle. They had a bunch of like any song.
Don't
you could think
Lauren
of.
Daigle.
I'm dead serious. I'm not even lying. You could ask Taylor. I was like, they have Christian artists. They didn't have King and Country, but we kept looking up different Christian artists to be like, that's what do they have? Chris Tomlin, no, but they did have Lauren Daigle.
I was gonna say, one time my friend and I, we did the theme song to the OC, and we did not realize how long that song was. We were only thinking about the theme song part, and then we were up there for about 4.5 minutes stumbling through the rest of the song.
Ryan Fisher asks, Derek and Marty, what's the weirdest inspiration you've ever gotten for a song?
The weirdest inspiration.
Weirdest inspiration I've ever gotten for a song.
I'm going to be honest with you. The fruit is very low. Like the bar is really low for me. So I want you to know that like I don't even think like that.
One of Marty's songs, one of my favorite Marty songs is he wrote a whole song about when his wife yells at him, he just kind of zones out. He can't hear her anymore. But like when you yell at me, I don't understand what you're saying when you yell at me. That is so funny to me because I could see it happening in real time. You know?
I just laugh at her and she hates it. Now she's adopted the same thing. I'm like, what'd you do? And she's like,
I love that. That song is one of my
Song did
favorite
awful.
songs.
Did really bad. This song just did
not
not
in
do
my
good.
household.
I know.
No,
I appreciate you.
doing numbers at the Johnson household. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm constantly pulling from so much stuff. I can't think of anything that's been like
Weird.
super duper weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Sarah Young 01 says, "What's your worst dad joke that you still think is hilarious?"
What did the Mexican fire chief name his 2 children?
What?
Whoa.
Jose and Hose B.
Okay, that was pretty good.
That's terrible.
That was
But in
always
an
a good go-to.
amazing
Always
way.
works. Always works. I saw it on Everybody Loves Raymond like 10 years ago. I never forgot that
Right when
joke.
you said Mexican fireman, and Derek's just like,
We
I'm
all
out.
started sweating.
Yeah, why were you all backing away from the camera? I was like, where are you guys going? You're leaving.
Well, not,
All right, last one.
not today.
Last one. Jason Glover 5 says, "If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be, and what would your superhero name be?" That's clearly for Derek.
Yeah. My superpower would be that I would be rich like Batman, and I'd be Black Man. No. It's Black Man coming to save us.
Black man sees crime. Is like, I'm good. I'm fine. Let's just get out of here. Let's get out of here. This was a lot, honestly.
Nah, I mean, look, it doesn't matter what happens in the DC universe. Batman fixes it with an unlimited amount of money, bro. So I'm like, yeah.
You know that the Wayans brothers, they made a version of Black Batman. It's called Blank Man.
Oh,
That
Black
was
Man is but
he only
was not
flies like
rich.
3 inches off the ground. You know,
And
like
he
he's
was
not
not
rich.
rich.
He's not. Yeah, there's all those little things.
Isn't it
that
like
are-
a homemade costume and stuff?
Yeah, homemade
right?
costume, yeah.
Emily?
I think I would want the ability to pause time, but like I can still do things.
Like Zach Morris in season 1 of Saved by the
That'd
Bell?
be great. That'd be great.
It's a deep cut. Yeah, sure.
Deep cut.
But like that was the whole way that show started. It was like he would break the fourth wall. He'd go like,
Oh,
pause.
yeah.
And like he would then turn and talk to the camera about whatever the situation was that was happening, and then he would resume it. And then all of a sudden, season 2 and beyond, that never happens again.
That was
And
like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
They just
They're
forgot
in the
that
back,
this.
like holding on like this.
Yeah, they are. They're like Screech is frozen by the locker,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then they resume.
They
And
was
they
like,
just
this
never
ain't
did it
enough.
again.
Yeah.
And that really is just because, like, as a lot of people on this podcast know, I have terrible time management skills. So sometimes I just need a beat to finish some things up. That's
She's
all
talking
I
about me. I know that she has terrible time management skills.
I was going to say, you seem pretty put together for me. Like,
Whoa, that is an amazing thing. Earlier question about what do people not know about me on this podcast? I have really bad time management skills.
She runs everything. If you don't know right now, she runs everything at Relevant Podcast.
We are working our way through various time management approaches: time blocking, calendaring, task lists.
AI.
We're knocking them off one by one, trying to find one that sticks right now. So
I haven't found one yet, but we're working
not
on
yet.
it.
But if y'all have any organization and efficiency systems
Please
that you want to
DM me
recommend,
at ebrown95 on
we
Twitter.
are all ears.
dang, Emily.
All right, that'll do it for.
Ask the cast anything you want, and we'll use our brains to answer.
Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Amanda Cook for joining us. Make sure to check out her album, Survey Part 2. It's out now. Also, check out issue 116 of Relevant. Nate Bargatze's on the cover, Connor Price, Gallant, Jackie O'Perry, Aiden King, a lot of great features, Chad Veach, David Kushner, a piece on Church Hurt. Amazing content. It's available for free. You can read it by clicking the magazine tab at relevantmagazine.com. And if you want the beautifully designed digital issue, you can get it as part of Relevant Plus. All the information about the plans and signing up is right there at the website. Okay, on that note, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Emily Brown.
I'm Marty.
No, I'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
I do be just leaving and not saying nothing.
Relevant Podcast Network.